and welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me again. My name is Sasha Reade and today I've got a fun tutorial for a different style of card. I think you would call it like a bifold card. I'm not really sure. I know this has been done before. I kind of created my own measurements. I just kind of worked out what worked for me. And I'm starting out with a paper pack. Now, this is a great card to make the most of those pattern papers that you might have hanging around. So I've got this pad, which I love. I've used it lots in videos before. I got it from the Works for about, I think, £2. And all I'm doing is going through my cardstock stash and working out which color of card kind of matches my paper. So in the end, I've gone for these 4 colors. I've gone for white, pink, a teal, and sort of a greeny teal. And I'm just going to cut my card base. Now for the big one, for your main base of your card, you're going to cut it to 9 inches by 4.5. For your second piece of card, you're going to cut it by 9 inches by 3.5. So you should be able to get 2 cards out of one or 2 sheets of cardstock, if that makes sense. So I'm going ahead and I'm scoring that first one at 3.5 inches. And then my second piece, I'm going to go ahead and score it at 4.5 inches or fold it in half. And those are our 2 starting base points of our cards. So you can see how they're going to sit together here. So I think it's bifold because it's 2 folds. I'm not quite sure. So this is the style of card we're going to do today. Now all the measurements will be down in the description box below, but I'm sharing them with you as well while I'm doing the video and showing you them in case you're a visual person like I am. So I've got my bits cut up here, I've got my decorative paper, and I've got the colored card. So in the description box, when it says colored card, you'll have the base, then you'll have colored card, and then you'll have designer paper or decorative paper will be how I label these. So your base card will be that teal color, the colored card will be the pink one, and the decorative paper will be the butterfly paper. So that's kind of how I've labeled them in the description box. So if you'd like all those measurements, they're down there below for you. These again are ones that I kind of worked out that worked for me. So there's probably a lot out there and I don't know what this card is actually called, but I'm going to call it a bifold card, and these are the measurements I've used. So I've just gone ahead and cut all my pieces so I didn't bore you to death with my paper trimmer. A lot of people tend to ask me where I get my paper trimmer from. It is from Hobbycraft here in the UK, but if you have a little search on Amazon or wherever you may be, your kind of like local main provider, if you just search for a 12-inch paper trimmer, you usually will get ones that look exactly the same, just a different color. It is the same as the Stampin' Up! One, just a different color. And with Hobbycraft, you can get them for 50% off quite regularly, and it cost me £7.50. Bargain paper trimmer, best one I've used. So these are all my pieces and all the measurements for them. This is how I write them down. So I'm going to keep these 2 bits of card. I've just kind of written on these bits of card what my measurements are so I can remember them. Now I've gone and got my little sticky roller, and all I'm going to do is mat all my layers together. So I'm just sticking them all together. I've got a nice little thin border of about 1/8 of an inch all the way around those main pieces. And then for these ones here, I've got more of 1/4 of an inch on the front one, just to kind of make that front panel pop off, which is where I'm going to stick my sentiment. So I'm just adhering them all together. And I've got this white panel here left over, and that white panel is going to be where I stamp my sentiment. The white panel on the inside is for my message. I've got these 2 stamp sets here. I've got this reverse confetti stamp set, which I picked up from a shop, I think Seven Hills Crafts in the UK. And then I've got my sentiment stamp set, which is from Craft Stash here. I'll link them down below if I can still find them for you. And I do kind of wish I'd gone with maybe a smaller font on this one, because when I do my next step of making a butterfly, you'll see what I mean. I've got some new Nuvo inks that I'm trying out. I went ahead and stamped that off the screen for you, and I stamped it with my new Nuvo ink, which it was alright. I had to stamp it 3 times, which is a bit much, but maybe I just need to kind of get into it and use it a bit more to get it kind of flowing a bit better. But I do like the color, and I did get a clear image in the end. I did use my stamp platform to stamp that on. I've got my Arteza alcohol pens. I'll link these down below for you. They are my favorite alcohol pens that I've got. I've got a few different kinds. These ones I love. I love the little bundle. I've always had one of everything that I could possibly need in this little bundle. I did go ahead and get the skin colored ones as well, skin tones, because I wanted some more of the pinks for skin tones. All I'm doing is adding some light blue, then adding the dark blue, and then kind of blending them together with the light color. And I get kind of like this graduated color look to it. So I just am basic in my coloring. I really don't know much of what I'm doing. This stamp set's great. It comes with a little die to cut it out with. And this is where I'm kind of like, I wish my font was a little bit smaller because my butterfly does kind of poke over the top of it a bit. But I don't really mind because I think it looks really pretty in the end. And I did pick my markers based on the colors that are in my card again. So I kind of colored out a bit of the different colors to work out which one works the best out of the pinks and the blues. I've gone ahead and stuck my butterfly on the front, and I'm using one of the flowers from the stamp set to just stamp a nice little flower on the inside, and then I'll take those same 2 alcohol pens and just color them in and do the same thing I did with the butterfly and do a little bit of shading. I'm not very good at the shading, so I kind of keep it to a minimal, but it does make a massive difference if you do some shading. It's really nice. So that kind of finishes off that card. But I'm going to come in and add some glossy accents to make that butterfly really pop. Now the nice thing with the glossy accents is it's not going to pick up the color underneath because it's an alcohol pen. Now, I've been meaning to share this with you for a long time. We're moving on to card number 2, but I'm just sharing with you what I've got for card number 2. My lovely friend Donna, who I've met through YouTube, she was one of my subscribers. She's been following me since the beginning of time. And she is so sweet and lovely, and she lives in the States, and she sent me this massive bundles of goodies, and they're all coffee themed because she knows I love coffee. So I can't thank her enough. I am so in love with this set. I've been meaning to play with it forever, and this card is great because it's got loads of decorative papers in it, and I can use this up and really make the most of those decorative papers. So this is the lovely bundle she sent me. It came with some pot holders as well, which are in my kitchen being used. This is the gorgeous card she made for me and decorated the little envelope as well. And she stamped the inside. I was trying not to share too much of the message. It just was a lovely message saying that she appreciated our friendship. But there's her name there, Donna Lipscomb. She's probably going to laugh at me for trying to pronounce that name. She is fantastic. She's been one of the most amazing people to have on this journey with me. And she sent me this bundle and it's so nice. And she went and bought some extra papers. So I've got all these little papers that kind of all coordinate. I think this is all from Michaels in the States. I'm going to guess because the paper pad is very much a Michaels brand, I think. I've got some of this bumpy paper or cardstock as well. It's craft colored. Gorgeous. And then we got some glitters, and these glitter papers are so glittery. I've got kind of a chocolate brown and kind of an espresso brown, and they're really pretty. And this is the paper pad. Oh my goodness. So this is what makes me think it was from Michaels, but I'm just doing a quick flip through of this paper pad. I have no idea if it's still available or not, but I love it. And this is the paper pad I'm going to use because I'm so in love with it. I really wanted to show it off. And I thought this card will be perfect for showing off this coffee paper. And the other thing that's great is if you've got any of these paper pads that kind of come with little elements, like they've got these strips on this page. You've got some sentiment little squares. You've got these giant ones. This is great for using up this paper pack because they all coordinate together and you can use them as one kind of bundle for your card. You don't even really need to do any stamping. You can just use the paper pads. So that's mostly what I'm doing today, although I do use the stamp and dies a bit. So I'm going with this sheet of embellishments or ephemera, and then I'm going to also cut out some of the strips from that page. I've got the green paper and I've got the gorgeous kind of coffee pots and cups. I then went through my stash and found a brown and a pink that matched those colors. So again, I've gone ahead and cut out all my pieces. The measurements again are down below. And I just cut out that topper, that little sentiment for the top. And I've got a couple strips to kind of play with. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use or which direction I wanted to go on my card. So I cut the ones that were more neutral. Now I've got this gorgeous glitter card and all we're showing is 1/8 of the edge. So I don't want to waste the glitter card. So I'm going to cut out the middle of it And I could have done a better job, and I could have gone a bit more closer to the edge, but I wasn't sure how well my glue was going to stick either, because it's so glittery that I wanted to have a decent amount to stick to. So we're cutting out the middle, and we're going to use the middle bits to embellish the card even more. So save all the middle bits if you're following along with me and doing something similar. I've got my Nuvo glue. This is a really nice strong glue. I buy my glue from Craft Stash or Tonic. They both sell it. It is a tonic glue. It is a really nice strong adhesive. It's very, very, very much the same as Gina K. I bought her glue before. This is just much cheaper and better value, I find. So I'm using my liquid glue to glue onto the glitter card. The glitter card is shedding all over my desk, so it's proper glitter, which means it is tricky to adhere your paper to the top. But if you use the liquid glue and a strong liquid glue, it does hold. I do put a nice heavy weighted stamp block on the top, which holds it down and helps it to adhere much better. So again, I'm just layering up and gluing them all together and sticking them onto my card. The other nice thing about liquid glue is it gives you a bit of wiggle room to get it right in the right spot. And so that's really nice. So there's my heavy stamp block. It's still got my homemade Christmas stamp on it. I plan to use it again, so I haven't got it off of there yet. And then again, I'm going to layer up my inside cards. So you've got the top cards, or the base card, and then you've got the sort of inside layering card. Make sure you're remembering that this card goes backwards in your card. So it's not opening to the left, it's opening to the right, because it's going on top of your card facing the other direction. So do bear that in mind if you're sticking stuff on that's going to be pattern, what is the word, like that you want it to stick to the right pattern and show the right way. Right, so I've left those for about 5-10 minutes, and then I'm coming back in and I'm putting them together now. So I'm going to glue this one into the inside. I'm adding lots of glue, and I do probably go over the top with the glue, but I wanted to make sure this card really held together and really stuck out well, because I think I'm going to be sending it overseas. And then now, this is one thing that was a bit tricky. I wasn't sure what to do in this part, but I decided to get out my vellum. Now this is my vellum that I have stuck down onto the back of some sticky, double-sided sticky paper. So you can see my vellum just there that I shared with you was see-through. This is the vellum that's got the sticky back already on it. And I just keep that on my desk ready to go. So I've die cut out of the vellum. It's not see-through just because of that sticky back paper. But there's my vellum little coffee mug. And I wanted to do it in vellum because I wanted to layer it just slightly over that sentiment. Now here's our little scrap that we're going to use to make that heart in the center. So always make sure to keep those little scraps. They're really handy. And you can tie your card together. I'm going ahead and sticking this one down. Now I do wish that I'd maybe picked one of the smaller elements or used a circle one so I could fit this coffee cup on a little bit easier, but we roll with it anyways, and we have fun because we're crafting and being creative. So I stuck that little vellum coffee cup on the front, which is really hard to see in the camera, but it is there and you can see it in person and you can see the edge of it. I did debate drawing around it, but then I would have drawn right through the words and I didn't want to do that. But now we're going to go ahead and stick that little heart back in the center of the coffee cup, which kind of helps define it and tie it together with the rest of the card. I decided to go with the dots in the end, and I'm just sticking those across the middle of my card just to kind of add a bit more interest to that inside panel. My last one had the butterflies and I just couldn't bring myself to cover any of the butterflies up, so I left them as is. I could probably put some ribbon on it or something, but I'm going ahead and sticking this little strip down. And then I thought, let's put another coffee cup. So this is that cardstock that came with my pack from Donna. And I'm going to go ahead and stick that little coffee cup with its heart. And then it also has a little steam. So I die cut that out all out of my scrap bit of glitter cardstock that I put to the side. And it's got these kind of lines through the middle of the die where it kind of held itself together. So I just lined those lines up with the line behind it because I figured, why not? It'll make it look a bit more pleasing to the eye. So now I've got my coffee cup on the inside. And then I love stamping a little image just on the little bit where you're going to write your message. So I got the coffee cup out of the other stamp set. And I'm using my VersaFine Claire ink because this is a silicone stamp. So the Claire ink sticks really, really nicely and gives a nice clear image. And I also knew that I had a bit of a bumpy behind there because I'd cut out the middle of my glitter card. So that worked really nicely because I was able to stamp nice and clear one time around. I didn't have to do it twice. And that finishes off this card. And I love that we get to see all the beautiful designer paper and show it off. And there's my butterfly one on the right. That butterfly will dry beautifully clear and you'll see the colors right through it. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had fun with this tutorial. Don't forget, all of the measurements are down below in the description box, and I will try to link all the products as well. Don't forget to subscribe and like my video, and I will see you on Saturday for some fun crafting. Oh, probably also Friday because I've got some more shopping coming in. See you all soon. Bye!